Hi, everyone. It's Phil, two-time cancer survivor and founder of Phil's Friends. And today I'm joined with Amber, one of my very, very dear friends. Welcome, Amber.
Thank you.
It's so good that you're here. Do you want to tell a little bit about how we got connected?
Yeah, so I found out I had breast cancer in the fall of 2011. And I shortly after that, I went through surgeries and chemotherapy and radiation. So come springtime of 2012, I remember I was in the midst of radiation and we finally had people over to our house because I had literally hidden from, pain and the treatment for so long, but finally a couple came over to our house and with them, they brought me a Phil's Friends care package. And I remember we sat outside, it was a warm day, and she handed me the care package. And I was like, what's this? And she just said, this is for you. It's a ministry we support. And although I was at my tail end of what I was going through, I took time later that night to open it up and I picked apart what was in the care package and I laid it all out on my bed. And I was just so impressed with the uniqueness of what was inside, how they thought through what a cancer patient would need on a daily basis. And I think the next day or maybe the next week, I called up Phil's Friends and Phil ended up picking up the phone. And I talked to him and that was, 2012. So what, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and probably one of the only times I was picking up the phone. So it was definitely
Not anymore, you don't.
great.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Amber. And so when you went through that, your cancer journey,
Yeah.
what was that like for you? And what other kind of what did it do to your family dynamics when you were going through it?
Yeah. I think it was devastating all around. It was devastating, obviously, physically. Chemotherapy makes you super sick, as many people know. Radiation, makes you super tired. So physically, I was a wreck. I remember coming out of it just thankful that I physically could recover and start the rebuilding process. Marriage-wise, going into cancer, my marriage was not super strong. And so I feel like cancer was probably the tipping point of which way our marriage would go. And at the end of cancer, everything unraveled and fell apart. So our marriage ended up taking a turn for the worse, and we ended up divorcing a year later. But my family, like my parents and siblings were strong. They were there for me. I think they're protective. Watch out, protecting me constantly. That came out. But that's what happened with family dynamics. And then spiritually, I really feel like it was a way the Lord taught me that he loves me, that he cares for me. And it was my way of figuring out that nothing I could do could earn any love from the Lord. He just loved me for who I am. And this was a way of showing it. And although it sounds really odd, it really was the way he had to get through to my heart. And cancer was his choice. And I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah. And so how did God fill in the blanks for you moving forward? You've gone through this great period of loss in your life, and you talked about where you got your hope from and it inspired your faith, but you said your husband left. And so how did God fill in those blanks for you? How was he faithful to you?
Yeah. So obviously through series of biblical counseling and serving at Phil's Friends, I got really involved at Phil's Friends and started doing different projects for you all that helped heal.
Organizing our warehouse, right, Amber?
Organizing your warehouse. I loved the hospital visitations, just meeting people with where they're at going through cancer. So I started giving back, and that helped heal me. Things came about that financially my businesses picked back up again, and I was able to go back to work. The Lord brought a new husband in my life about 3 years after my cancer journey ended, and he was fully accepting that I can't have children because of my cancer journey, and the Lord had that picked out just for me.
Yeah.
So God picked a husband that was okay with that. So we don't have kids, but that was God's plan, and we're going to be used in other ways.
Yeah, and I know that the Lord never promises that life is going to be easy, but he does promise to be faithful. And as I was thinking about our time today, there was a verse that came to mind. Psalm 89, verse 8, which reads, "Who is like you, Lord, God Almighty? You, Lord, are mighty, and your faithfulness surrounds you." And I think I just want to conclude with one story. I know you had gone out to see Daniel when you guys were dating, and I remember you telling me about an experience, when you got out there. What did the Lord do to you? What was the sign that he sent when you're out there visiting him, that he's the guy, he's the one?
You're gonna have to refresh my memory. In Wisconsin or Denver or where?
You painted something in the sky. That's all I remember.
Rainbow. It was a rainbow. So it's always a rainbow, and always God's promise with that. And I remember calling you from the airport. I said, Phil, God's got something. I saw a rainbow, and I'm not into mysticism or signs, but it was a piece that I knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, and I just, that really sunk in with me, because I remember when I was diagnosed with cancer, I had to take my little fourth graders outside and have a class meeting, and I was talking about faith. This is what Moses did, this is what Noah did, and God's going to take care of me as I go through cancer the second time. And then, one little kid starts crying. Before you know it, all the kids in the circle are crying, and I look up, and there's the most beautiful rainbow painted in the sky, and I started crying, losing it. And I think it's just God. He sends rainbows today. He sends doves to people. He works through everything. He's so powerful, and he intimately knows us and loves us, and so I'm encouraged by your story, Amber. I know a lot of people are, and you've mentioned how you give back through the hospital program, and the power of a care package. And so that's what I think I want to talk about today, and just let people know who are listening in that these care packages, we send them out free of charge across the United States. You can go to our website, philsfriends.org, and request a care package for anyone that you know who's suffering from cancer. And they're put together in a decorated box and have a lot of encouraging, spiritual items inside of there, as well as practical, such as blankets and journals, and just an encouragement to people. And then we follow up through cards in the mail. So if you know somebody today, you're listening in, I'd encourage you to request a care package, because you can see with Amber and meet a
Definitely
huge difference
send
in
one.
her story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and Amber, again, what I just want to say thank you for coming on today, and you are a living billboard for God. And so I want to close with that. And thanks for being a great friend, for the way you give back through the ministry. And I'm so proud of you and Daniel, and just the way you set an example for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. It was a pleasure.
Right. Talk soon.